What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. This is the final interview of 2019. We started off with Septic Flesh, and now we're ending things with the first guest ever on Heavy New York, John LaMacchia of Candiria. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, my good friend.
Yeah. It's always great to be able to talk to you. It's fair to say you've had a busy 2019. You released the Spylacopa on cassette, Beneath the Earth That Lies Beneath the Sea.
That's right.
Yep. What I was curious is, being such a prolific artist, you're doing the Metal Injection Jam tonight, playing with Candiria's Spylacopa. How different of like a mind frame is it playing with multiple projects, or is it just like a complete universal method behind the madness?
You know what? It's an interesting question because sometimes I feel like it's all one big thing to me, but you know what? Honestly, when you get down to it, like something like this is so completely different that we're doing here tonight with Frank and jamming. It's so like energetic and full of like spontaneity, and then doing something like putting out the Spylacopa record, which was ambient and electronic and weird and out there. It's really more like it's way more cerebral.
Yeah.
And I tend to sit on material for like years, and literally some of that material that goes back like 10 years, and I've been sitting on it, and finally I'm like, okay, I think it's good enough to put out. So it's really like, I think the main difference is the energy. Like energy in something like tonight is like fury and energy. Get up there, do it, rip, and that is more like really take your time and be subtle and be cerebral.
Well, I've noticed that tonight is like almost like not only is it celebrating 15 years of Metal Injection, but I feel like this is the ultimate New York jam with you guys, members of Dillinger, members of Typo. This almost has to feel like family in a way, right?
It is, and to me, that's the coolest thing about it is that I get to jump on stage and have fun with people that I know or people I admire for years, and just cool people and people that I don't know so well, but like are in the community. And now I'm like, oh shit, you know what? You know how many friends we have, and it's like it's just nice to. We're so lucky to have the community here that we do. With St. Vitus and Lucky 13 Saloon and all the metal bars and Kingsland, all the community we have, it's a really rare thing. And the fact that we're in New York City and we have such a tight-knit underground music scene, it's so weird. It's a really small little world in its own. But we're really lucky to have it. And I'm pretty psyched that we're all here tonight jamming out and celebrating 15 years of Metal Injection with Frank Godla and company. And it's for a good cause, for good people.
When it comes to playing material live, whether it is with Candiria or doing something like this tonight, is the live presence also a different energy than in songwriting, or is there maybe any similarities in that aspect as well?
Yeah, there's a total different energy. One is being more like a composer or a writer or just like deep thought and like really taking your time. And one is really more taking on like a performance role and just becoming a performer and executing things properly. So that to me feels very, very different. Some people, they don't even know the difference. But for me, it is. It's really like being rehearsed, being prepared, all of those little things, and then you never know when an idea is going to come to you when it comes to writing and stuff. So there's also like the unplanned shit. You're in your shower. You're like, shaving or like doing something, and all of a sudden an idea comes to you and you're like, I got to get this down on paper, or I got to record it, sing it into my friggin' phone or something. So it's a very different vibe.
And you just led me into my next question, because when it comes to getting inspired to write, whether it is for Candiria or Spylacopa, inspiration seems to come out of nowhere, right? It's not like you have to put yourself in a certain realm or element in order for the creative energy to flow.
No, actually, it's quite the opposite. It's usually when I am not thinking about the project at hand that an idea will come to me, and I'll either, like I said, I'll sing it into my voice memo. My phone is like loaded with all of these. One day I'm going to release like an album. It's going to have 15,000 little voice memos of little tiny riffs and stuff.
You never know, it might be the biggest hit you'll have.
Probably, with my luck. Anyway, yeah. That's how it is. It's really like you never know when inspiration is going to come, and that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I do have to ask this for journalist's sake, but now that the latest Candiria record, While They Were Sleeping, is going to be, believe it or not, 4 years old in 2020.
Yep.
What can we be expecting from Candiria? Because what I love about, and I ask that because, whether I'm listening to Process of Self-Development or What Doesn't Kill You or the newest record, like, you're a band that continuously leaves me not knowing what to expect. So can we be expecting some new Candiria very soon?
Well, let's just say things are happening.
Things are happening.
Things are happening.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Being that, like, because, every hardcore show I've been to, I've seen at least somebody in a Candiria shirt or somebody reference Candiria in a way. But, like, your music, I couldn't even pigeonhole you into hardcore. I think, like, if you played a song like Down or like 98 Millimeter or something like that, like, how did you guys get tied into that hardcore label? I feel like you and Typo kind of have, like, a similar sort of...
Well, it's funny because, the band originally was more... originally, going back to the very, very beginning of the band, they were much more related to death metal and black metal and all the different metal genres. And it was, as the story goes, as far as I know, Carly and Eric went to see a hardcore show, and I think they saw Snapcase. And they just instantly fell in love with Snapcase and the energy of the crowd and the energy of the show. And they just started listening to a little bit more of the hardcore influence. They started writing that way, and they started like themselves being interested in playing more hardcore shows. And then they got booked on hardcore shows through Ralphie at CBGB's and all these different booking agents. And it just kind of happened organically. And much like the thing about the hardcore community that I love is it's really not about the music. It's more about the community, your attitude, sort of politics in a way. Like a band like Bad Brains, definitely not, in my opinion, a hardcore band, quote unquote. But they were embraced by the hardcore community, which is really odd in a way. But they were, and they did. They kind of like struck a chord with the hardcore kids and the hardcore community across the country and around the world. So it just worked out. The hardcore community is very open-minded. That's what I feel. I feel like if you come and you have the right attitude and you are just a part of it and you support the scene, they're gonna welcome you with open arms.
Sound like you too, and still be...
Sure, absolutely, man. I don't know about you too. That's a stretch.
Just be like Bono and be like, don't fuck with us. You better listen. No.
Oh my God! Imagine Danny Diablo and fucking Bono collaboration.
Danny, if you're watching this, you got to make that happen. That would be the best collaboration ever.
Oh my God! I'd pay quite a bit to see that.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you so much, Johnny, for coming back on. Again, you were the first guest back when I was a SoundCloud journalist.
I remember, man. I remember.
Then, we've been able to do so much, and it all started with you, so thank you. Is there just anything else with Candiria or Spylacopa or anything going on that you would like to promote?
Next year, I'll be re-releasing a record, one of the first records Rising Pulse Records ever put out. I'll just say... might as well say it. It's we're gonna do a reissue of the Julie Christmas solo album, The Bad Wife.
Oh wow!
And I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about revisiting those songs and being in touch with Julie and just working with her on putting this whole thing together. And I'm looking forward to the re-release of that. And I'm looking forward to a really good music-filled 2020.
Awesome.
All around.
Thank you, Johnny. Always great to see you, man.
My pleasure, man.
Everybody, John LaMacchia of Candiria. Lots of great stuff coming soon. And congrats to Frank and Rob of Metal Injection for 15 years. Let's go jam. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.